Photoshop caricatures. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking what a caricature is. Ever heard of a caricature? Never. All right. A caricature is a humorous, exaggerated likeness of usually somebody famous, usually a celebrity or a movie star or probably a political figure, presidents. Those type of people usually get a caricature made of them. We're going to make a caricature, but it's going to be using Photoshop and a photo to do that, to accomplish that. You're not going to have to learn the art of making a caricature because it's a pretty complicated process, but we'll also show you some examples of them. For today, we're going to go through and look at the process in Photoshop, talk about the steps, show you how to get started, and then we will kind of break it down from there and talk about what the goal of making one look like and make it look funny is all about. So I'm going to open up a face. All right, so we'll find your face. We'll take a picture of it with the digital camera against that white backdrop, and we will then have a photo. But for the time being, we're going to pick this young gentleman. We're going to first of all rotate this. This is under Image and Image Rotation. Okay, you're going to find 90 degrees clockwise, and there you go. All right, so Mr. Michael here is ready for our first operation. Okay, we are going to take your photo and we're going to remove the background. Okay, this is a common practice in Photoshop, is to remove the background. We call it a COB, cutout background. We want part of the photo and we don't want part of the photo. So when we tell Photoshop to do that, it's like taking a photo and a pair of scissors. We're going to cut away. We're going to show Photoshop where we're going to cut and we can adjust where to cut. With a pair of scissors, you're stuck with what you can or can't cut very well with a pair of scissors. Okay, with this, we can adjust that cut before we actually commit to it and say, okay, this is exactly what we're going to do. First thing we're going to do with Photoshop is we're going to look at the background. Okay, it's obviously a different value. It has a lot of contrast from his face, so that's going to be easy to select using what's called a quick selection tool. What the quick selection tool does is it quickly finds a certain area of your picture that's similar and says, okay, that's what I want. So we're going to help it and we're going to click, and right away you see that selection or marquee go to that area. And we go a little farther and it keeps going, oh, you want some more? I'll give you some more. And here it is. It's just me dragging around and it's selecting the edges quickly, oh, almost perfectly, but not quite. So it doesn't do it perfectly. So we're going to see how much it will do before we give up and try something else. Oh, there it was. I lost it. Okay, it selected the whole picture. So obviously that's not going to work. Control D is deselect. So I know what I can get away with and what I can't. The background was easy. All right. So I'm going to get the background. I lost the ear again. I got a little bit of this. And I got that. I can come over here and maybe be able to get this again. I don't want to push my luck. I'm going to stop there and say, okay, I better take over. All right, when I take over, I'm going to switch tools. That tool worked great for what it can do, but it couldn't tell contrast between the ear and the background. Your eyes obviously can, so you're going to take over. You also don't want the neck. You don't want this collar. We're going to get rid of it too. So we're going to switch this point from this marquee, which you see is a marching line of ants going around like lights on a marquee, which is kind of the front of a theater. You'd see those lights. That's where the name is from. This is called a quick mask, and the letter is Q. Okay, on your keyboard, letter Q turns that on. It's right over here on your toolbar, but it's also the letter Q. The shortcut will get you into that and out of that. Okay, if I need to shut this off, turn it back on, I hit Q. Okay, there it is, back to the selection, quick mask. Selection, quick mask. This is pretty far away. I want to be able to zoom in. If I zoom in, it's Control, plus, and minus on my keyboard. Okay, Control, plus, and minus zooms in. Okay, once I'm zoomed in and I want to move around, I'm going to use my space bar and my mouse, and you see the hand show up, and then with my mouse button I'm moving the picture. Okay, I can move to a certain area, I can work a certain area, and if I'm on a certain tool, it switches back to that tool as soon as I let go of the space bar. Okay, the paintbrush is right here, and it is B. Makes sense? The shortcut for the brush is B. And it has a control at the top. This is the option bar up here. That control, I want to make sure that the hardness is 100%. And I'm going to start out here just so you see what I'm doing with this brush. I want to be able to paint around that ear. Now if I do that, okay, if I paint around that ear, I might be able to do a good job, or I might be sloppy. Okay, I want good job versus sloppy. Okay, to do that, I want to control the brush a little bit better than freehand. All right, I'm going to paint that in just because I'm here. But to do that out here, I'm going to use the Shift key, and to show you to do that, I'm going to hit a click with the paintbrush, just a dot. Okay, it's the same shape as the paintbrush. All right, but to do a straight line, I would hold down the Shift key on my keyboard and I would click again. Okay, and I get a nice straight line. I can't do that with the mouse by itself. Okay, so the space bar or the Shift key actually helps me do a good job there. Okay, if I'm doing a curve, like this curve, I can do a curve in a series of short strokes. Okay, and to show you that, I'm just going to come out here and do it. I'm going to click, Shift, click. Okay, and I'm going to be clicking around a curve. I'm going to make my brush a little smaller. The bigger the brush, the more I get some scalloped edge. And Shift, click, or click, Shift, click. There we go. And you can kind of see the control I have there to make a fairly clean line. It's not perfect, okay, but it's a little better than me trying to freehand it. The same thing with erasing. Okay, right now this black box, okay, is up. It's the foreground color. If I switch that, which this little arrow will do, the white is on top. Okay, that means I can take it away. So I can just reverse what I did. If I want to do that on the keyboard, I use the X key. Okay, see I'm switching there? So white erases, black paints. Brush size big, get rid of that. Also, when we talk about getting rid of something, if I make a mistake and I know it, immediately I can do Control Z. Okay, Control Z is edit undo. Okay, that's pretty common for all computer programs. All right, if I have multiple steps, okay, multiple steps give me a little more challenge, and I want to use this palette. Okay, these are all palettes, by the way. Tool palette, option bar, a lot of palettes, color palettes, swatches, layers, channels, okay, a bunch of different things we will get to and won't get to. But the history one will show up as this little box stacked up, and it's called the history. And lo and behold, it's been keeping track of all my steps. Okay, everything I've done for about 20 steps is recorded here. Okay, so at any point I want to go back to where I was 20 steps ago, okay, I can go to that point. Not much more to do on the ear except maybe fine tune this. X key to switch the color. I'm going to come in here, click, Shift, click, click, click. Okay, I'm putting just a little bit of edge to that ear. Cleaning up a little bit. On the bottom where it's a little fuzzy, I'm going to switch to the white. I'm going to erase a little bit. Click, Shift, click. Okay, I'm just taking just the fringe off of his face. All right. Now my contour of his chin goes all the way down here and back up over here. Okay, I want to basically make one sweeping contour there. One nice clean line. Okay, so I'm going to start with the edge of the paintbrush, and I'm going to start erasing, because the white is up, with the click, Shift key, click. Okay, it's a dot-to-dot process, and you can see how I'm just connecting dots. Again, it might not be perfect or it might be hard to see. If it's hard to see, shut it off. Okay, go back to Quick Mask and say, okay, where am I going? Ah, that's where I'm going. Okay, so I want to keep going there or readjust it, whatever the case may be. Just the edge of the brush. All right, fairly clean. Control plus and minus, zoom out. Mr. Engelmeyer's looking good, ready for decapitation. We're going to get rid of the extra selection. Okay, remember, if it's red, it's a selection. Okay, I don't need that, so I'm going to keep painting and get rid of it. And I'm using a big brush, obviously bigger than I would use if I'm doing the fine detail. And looking good. Check my selection. Dandy. Okay, one other thing at this point or any point during the Quick Mask, I might run out of time. Maybe I'm working, class is almost over. I'm going, oh, phooey, I better get to a stopping point and somewhere I can save my work. To do this, I've got to remember that a selection in Photoshop does not stay active when I close the file. Okay, all this selected marquee goes away. It just disappears. Okay, so if I don't save this as a separate piece of Photoshop on this file, it's gone. Okay, so if I close it, open it back up, whoa, even though I hit save, it's gone. So I need to do this stage. This is called select and save selection. There it goes. Right here I'm going to be putting something in. I don't care what it is. You can spend some time naming it, but it just needs to be named. Hits OK. Now again, I haven't saved it yet. I've just saved a selection. I now need to go File, Save As, and save my file.